Darkwood is one of the best horror games I've ever played. It solidified itself as being one of the most immersive and unique attempts at a horror game, mainly because of its intricate story and lore and its distinctive approach to the survival horror genre. With a masterfully crafted atmosphere and environment, you'll be hard pressed to find a single jump scare in this game.
Grzegorz Brzęczyszczykiewicz.
A deliberate choice made by the developers, Acid Wizard Studios, as they found conventional jump scares in horror movies and games to be kinda cheap. As well as incorporating a top-down perspective, something that I haven't seen executed in a game since Among Us. Darkwood plays with your fear of the unknown, as shit can be happening in a room next to you, and it's only a matter of time until that thing reaches you. Set in 1980s Poland, Darkwood has you gather supplies and survive through the day and night, while simultaneously working to find a way out of the dense, ever-expanding forest you're stuck in. And with the difficulty of the game being hard enough as it is on normal, what if I tried to beat the game on its hardest difficulty using nothing but the starting weapon for its entirety? The main rules for this run will be, I have to complete the game on its hardest difficulty, Nightmare, and I'll follow the mechanics of the Nightmare difficulty, meaning that if I die for any reason, I'll have to start from the very beginning of whatever chapter I'm on. For the entire game, I have to use nothing other than the weakest and first proper craftable melee weapon, the torch. I can't damage enemies with throwables or stun them with traps. If I have to break open a door, then I have to do it with the torch. And just because I don't hate myself nearly enough, for an added challenge, I won't be leveling up for the entire game. No skills, no workbench upgrades, nothing. In chapter 1, there's two paths that you can take, the musician's path or the wolf's path. For this challenge, I'll be taking the path of the wolf, mainly because it's a lot quicker to complete and won't fuck me over in chapter 2, where the wolf will just steal all my shit for leaving him and going with the musician. In chapter 2, I could go through the radio tower, which I can access literally as soon as chapter 2 starts. But the only problem is that in order to actually get past one of the locked doors, I would have to go into a dream sequence which strips me of everything I have and forces me to use weapons other than the torch, which obviously isn't allowed. So that only leaves me with one other option to beat the game, which is to burn the talking tree. And that does take longer, but it's the only path I can take where I don't have to use weapons that aren't the torch. But with the path and the rules laid out, let me actually show you how this entire challenge unfolded. Waking up on day 1, last night I must have gotten absolutely obliterated, because it would appear that I've somehow ended up in Asmongold's house.
Well, I actually had to get rid of most things out of the nest. Because they were moldy.
All I can remember is some old doctor tying me up, stealing my key, injecting me with Trembolone acetate and punching me at Mark fuck, resulting in me lacking the required brain cells to craft a weapon better than the torch. But after acquainting myself to this cozy bando, I headed to the underground entrance. Arriving at the house with the entrance, I picked up the wooden nails outside so I can actually craft the torch later, and also picked up some bandages off a dead corpse. What a shame. You would have loved Mafiathon 3. But after moving a wardrobe out the way and entering the underground, I make my way through and eventually reach the door that will be my way out of the forest. But seeing as that fuck-ass doctor stole my key, I can't do anything apart from look through the keyhole and listen as to what could be on the other side.
Who's my good little kitten?
I am. Uh-oh.
What? Heading back out, it appears that I must have angered the Discord mod that was on the other side of the door, because for the first time in 10 years, he's actually managed to stand up from his desk, causing the entire cave to start shaking. But leaving the underground, I head back to my hideout so I can finally craft the one and only weapon I've unfortunately been condemned to use.
What the fuck is this?
After contemplating how fucked I truly could be, I craft some more bandages and then head out to gather some more supplies. I mainly picked up wooden nails because with how utterly dogshit the durability of the torch is, I'm gonna need a lot of wood in order to keep up with how quickly I go through a single torch. But after running around and trying my best not to break the Animal Welfare Act of 2006, I eventually run into the wolf.
Всем привет, пидорасы.
Talking to him, he tells me that he'll be able to get my key back from the doctor, but only if I help him back in return. He then says that before we actually help each other, he first wants me to prove if I'm capable enough to do the job. So he wants me to meet him in his camp in the Silent Forest, where he'll tell me what to do next. After he marks the location of his camp on my map, I waste no time and make my way immediately to the Silent Forest. In order to actually get there, I have to first go through a building where I encounter the first obstacle of this challenge. Worms. Usually, if you were playing the game like a normal person, you would just use the Molotov that's in the chest just outside and burn the worms away. But due to my unbreakable bond with the torch and what the consequences of committing mass arson in a wooden building would be,
for fuck's sake!
I have no choice but to put into practice what is unfortunately a bar from Michael Rosen.
Oh no, we got to go through it.
Running through the worms, the damage isn't too bad, but combined with the fact that I accidentally stepped onto some mushrooms earlier in the underground, I unfortunately get sent to half HP, which isn't ideal.
Fuck!
And after actually playing through and editing this entire section, I only just realised that you can burn the worms away with the torch. But with how much of a mental disaster this challenge actually is, honestly, do you expect me to remember that I could have burned the worms away with the torch?
This motherfucker might be mentally slow.
Crossing the worms, I head over real quick to grab the embryo, which I'll be able to sell later to get a decent amount of reputation. I then go and unlock the door to get access to the Silent Forest. Thankfully, the code to this door is the same for every playthrough, saving me from having to fight the savage in one of the rooms and potentially lose even more health. Unlocking the door and emerging into the next circle of hell that I'll somehow have to overcome, I eventually reach a 2-bedroom detached new build that I get to proudly call a home for tonight. Ready to move in with custom easy access entrances, a brand new freshly fitted bathtub, a garage where you can do 13 hours of unpaid slave labour with your dad on a Sunday, and an entire fucking tractor. Call now at 1-800-BANDO to purchase today. Terms and conditions apply. Any and all debt, including towards yourself, family, friends, children, pets, terrestrial and extraterrestrial life forms will be your fault and you will get charged. After the purchase goes through, the housing agency will be required to charge an additional service fee of $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. Arriving at the Silent Forest hideout, I quickly refill the generator, loot some of the stuff that's in the building, and also take the bell from the workbench, so I can call upon that one Polish man you always see beyond obliterated outside your local Żabka. So we can take my stuff from the original Dry Meadow hideout and bring it to the Silent Forest one. And with him only wanting a bottle of absinthe with an alcohol percentage of 90% to move on my stuff, I don't know about you, that sounds like an offer I can't refuse. Now with the risk that all my shit could potentially get lost now because of some guy whose liver is about to kill itself, I loot a few more things around the hideout and then craft a spare torch and also a board with nails. Purely to sell for some reputation, just so you know. I heal myself from the damage I took earlier and then head out to meet the wolf in his second camp. On the way there, I run into another embryo egg that I can sell. Running past and ignoring Piotrek's hideout, as this questline isn't necessary or really that useful to complete during this challenge. Oh my fucking hell. I arrive at a tank wreckage where I can take some bullets and magazines to sell to the wolf for a lot of reputation, and should hopefully give me enough to buy a specific item that I'll need to progress through the game later. Arriving and talking to the wolf at his camp, at first he's dumbfounded that I even managed to get across to the Silent Forest. But in regards to our deal, he says that I need to make my way to the village on the southeastern edge of the forest, where I'll need to find a key to a door inside the house of some chicken lady. He finishes with saying that after I get him this key, only then he'll help me in finding my key to escape from the forest. Trading with the wolf, I sell him the stuff I picked up on the way, and with the reputation I managed to earn, I buy a chain from him, which will make my life 10 times easier soon. Goodbye. Anyway, with no time to waste, I run straight to where the wolf said the village was. I eventually reach the road to the village, and just before I go through, I get a quick taste of what sort of creative and definitely normal individuals I might meet. Entering into the town from Rancho, I respectfully deface the local sacred monument and take the shiny stone for my own benefit to sell later. Rather than talking to the chicken lady first, I instead immediately head to a boarded up well that I can repair using the chain that I bought from the wolf earlier. But just like Alice going down the well into Wonderland, with the only thing being that this dream consisted of pure and utter misery, Emerging at the bottom, I get generously gifted a spare torch, presumably from the last poor individual who wanted to escape from this eternal torture. Moving through the winding colon of this village, while simultaneously avoiding the screams of what I assume Bruce Wayne would sound like if he never got out of that cave. I managed to reach the other side and emerge through a hole in the floor of a house, where it appears that the resident of this humble crack shack had an advanced level of explosive diarrhea. Pushing past the wardrobe and looting some funny little characters,
Looks like a little egg with glasses on it they put on there.
I finally acquire the key that the wolf has been after. Now with the key in hand, all I need to do is get it to the wolf, and then he'll tell me where the doctor is so I can get my key back and finally make it back home. Taking the shortcut from the village back to my hideout, I put all of the loot that I took on the way to the village and also what the drunk bike man delivered from my previous hideout into the workbench. I then perform biblical levels of greed and head back to the village and start looting anything of value to me. With my pockets now plentiful, I head to the wolf's hideout and start selling my gains for a profit. Now with enough reputation, I can afford to buy the watch from the wolf, which will allow me to see precisely what time of day it currently is, instead of relying on pure hopes and dreams to make it back in time to my hideout before 8 PM. Also, while I'm at it, I give the wolf the key that he's been looking for. And even though the wolf shows me on the map that the doctor is hiding away in some fuck-ass train carriage, he doesn't tell me how to open the fucking thing. I instead have to trek all the way to the wolf's hideout in the old woods to figure out how to access it.
What the dog doing?
That, however, is a problem for another day, so I instead start heading back to my hideout and start preparing for the night that's about to come. I craft some bandages, organise the workbench, light the furnace so the red floor ghoul doesn't start molesting me. I also barricade some windows, and most importantly, pray to my shit-covered painting of the Black Madonna of Częstochowa. But after all that, there's nothing left to do other than wait. You know, standing and waiting until 8 o'clock, I started to reminisce about the wise words of Joshua Block.
When the sun goes down, the drinks go up.
Although the only thing going up here would be my blood pressure, because not long into the night, the heretic landlord that owns this gaff decided to enter my residence with force.
Get the fuck over here!
However, I retaliated with a lethal demonstration of squatters' rights and managed to get full ownership of the property. And clearly word must have spread around because some other random bozo just turns up in my newly acquired house.
Boom, dickhead.
With my blood pressure now at a steady 180 over 120, the last thing I needed was another uninvited visitor. Trying to avoid this antisocial freak with an ironic problem with personal space is like trying to avoid getting banned in Overwatch. I feel like such a weeb playing this game now.
A weeb? Why?
Because of all the skins.
That's why I reckon there's this hit game called League of Legends that you might be interested in playing. It's very unweeby.
I'm sure my mental state would really flourish. After spinning more than your average spin botter in CS, with my never-ending intellect, I somehow managed to aggro the Banshee with 30 seconds left until the next day. Oh my fucking god, are you taking the piss? Ignoring the fact that I did get cornered, the minimal damage that these annoying bastards did allowed me to survive until the next day. With a solid 4 seconds of sleep, clearly I didn't get enough uninvited visitors throughout the night, because standing directly in the middle of my house is a wandering trader. Looking like that old sack of potatoes you forgot is sat rotting in your cupboard, this undiagnosed schizophrenic starts writing on his arm, telling me there's no way out of the forest. Well, clearly there is.
You stupid.
After what could have just been a possible threat on my freedom, the trader gifts me a tank of gasoline. After trading a few things with him, I waste no time and head immediately to the wolf's hideout in the old woods. On the way there, I do unfortunately break that Animal Welfare Act I was on about earlier. But at least I managed to acquire another embryo. Eventually I managed to make it to the abandoned animal shelter that is the wolf's compound. Maneuvering through and euthanizing some dogs, I eventually make it to his hideout. Being greeted with the cleanliness and choice of decor in here, I couldn't tell whether I did in fact walk into the wolf's hideout or took a wrong turn somewhere and accidentally stumbled into the cleanest house in Birmingham.
I hate the fucking place!
Round the corner though, I do find the wolf. Talking to him and reading the first sentence, it was clear I had stumbled into an unregulated furry convention.
What the fuck, man? Who is this guy?
Praying that no one's around to film and put this degeneracy on the internet, I let the wolf do his thing. But holding up his end of the deal, the wolf says that he will take me to the doctor's house in order to find clues on how to reach him and get my key. Arriving just outside the doctor's house, heading up the path, I run past the shack and reach the cleanest medical ward in the Polish People's Republic. Past that though, I finally make it to the doctor's house. Turning the generator on and entering through the window, in order to find clues on how to find the doctor himself, I have to find the combination to a safe embedded in the ground. But before that though, chilling in the front garden is Princess, who definitely doesn't bite. To make sure of that though, I lethally sedate this harmless bundle of joy and carry on trying to find the combination. Yeah, don't worry, it's just sleeping. After quickly looting some stuff inside the room I got kidnapped in, all around the house you'll find numbers etched into the floor. Starting from the closest number to the safe and following the lines, moving some furniture, you'll find the remaining numbers needed for the combination. Opening the safe, inside is a note with a code to the train carriage door that the doctor is hiding in. With the code now in hand, it's time to pay the doctor a little visit. Now in front of the carriage doors, using the code I found, I open the doors and enter.
Yo, family.
Kurwa!
Being surprised at this unexpected visit, it soon dawned on the doctor that I wasn't here for a general checkup. After begging me to show him where the underground entrance is so he can go back to his family, I can either kill him or show him where the entrance is. I mean, on the one hand, it's understandable. This guy's desperate. He wants to leave just as bad as I do. Maybe I will show him. Finally getting my key back, there's nothing left to do other than grab everything I might need from my hideout and head straight to the underground entrance. Finally, stood in front of the bunker door, using my key, I get one step closer to leaving this place. With no turning back now, as I continue forward down this dilapidated corridor, pushing past the metal door, I walk into a large flooded cave, where I get to experience for the first time what it's like running in your dream. With my stamina plummeting faster than my mental state as I cross through this shit-infused swamp water, and after encountering the local wildlife, I reach a large eye sticking out from the ground, and some weird growth blocking the way forward. Walking into the eye's line of sight, the growth will retract, allowing me a one-way passage to finally leave the forest. Oh, for fuck's sake. Realizing I have to endure more of this never-ending fuckfest, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. But with my situation being ever so slightly worse than Will Byers being stuck in the Upside Down, I settle into my new shelter of despair, and then venture out to find some sort of way out of this forest. Approaching an entrance to a village, I run into a creature that rivals the mutated wildlife of Chernobyl. Like, seriously, what the fuck is this? Managing to take down this 8-legged monstrosity, I use up nearly all of my torch's durability in the process, so keeping my distance from these things as much as possible will be crucial so I don't run out of torches mid-fight. Going further down the path, it became apparent that the residents of this village weren't exactly so evil, but rather just non-existent. With the atmosphere and architecture of this village rivaling that of Swindon,
what a shithole.
I eventually find a backpack with some supplies, but also a map that shows me the location of some holes that I can use to fast travel across the swamp, similar to the shortcut back in the village in chapter 1. Moving deeper, I get ambushed by a chomper with a health bar so fat that I might as well be fighting Jack Baker.
Would you love me if I was a worm?
With my supply of torches, but also my emotional stability holding on by a thread, surely there can't be anything else that wants to kill me. Yeah, no worries. My health bar might as well just be a decoration at this point. Taking care of this feral beast, I eventually run into Carl Fredrickson if he was clinically insane. Talking to the old man, it soon dawned on me that with my character refusing to talk due to his crippling social anxiety and the old man being blind, communication is going to have to get creative.
Oh, mate, I swear, I'm fucking raging! I'm fucking raging!
The old man files a formal noise complaint to me regarding the large talking tree outside and how it just constantly yaps his ear off all throughout the day and night.
You're very precious to me.
He begs me to find a solution to the constant noise, but before I go raising a formal statutory notice, I first have to really examine what I'm dealing with here. Heading out and examining this talking tree, seeing the true extent of the issue at hand, I feel like this may be a bit out of my league. With the structure of this tree looking like an LSD trip from hell, I'm definitely going to need something more than a noise complaint to solve this. Not far from the tree though, the old man told me about a basement where I could potentially get to the root of the issue. Get it? Root of the issue? Ha! No. Entering the basement, it looks like the roots of the tree have grown far enough to reach here. But in order to get directly under the tree, I would need to go past a flooded section of this cave, and without an oxygen tank, this task is literally impossible. Leaving the basement, I start to head back to my hideout to try and figure out where to get this oxygen tank from, but not before the cripple gets flashbacks to his time on Love Island and pulls me aside for a chat.
I feel like you was pissed off because he kissed me.
Now, even though this guy's blind and I can't talk, he still figures out somehow that the basement is flooded. So either this guy's an all-knowing being, or he flooded the basement himself just to fuck with me. But he does tell me that there are some elephants in the northwestern part of the swamp that could potentially help me in acquiring an oxygen tank. Alright, sick. With the plan of action sorted, I begin to head back to my hideout, and definitely don't make things harder for myself by walking into some mushrooms. But arriving back at the hideout, I put away the stuff I found while going through the village, and then head out to try and find these elephants that have this oxygen tank. Now, at this point, I would cut to me arriving at the elephant family's compound, but seeing as I have the sense of direction as Davy when he moves vaults, I genuinely just couldn't find them, and instead spent the rest of the day running around getting chased. So with the sun beginning to set, and me unable to follow a map in simple directions,
No trail, so we're just gonna have to find our way.
I begin to head back to my hideout and start setting up for the night. Doing the usual thing of refilling the generator, organising my workbench, and trying to reinforce some windows, time eventually runs out, and I have no choice but to survive whatever tonight will throw at me. With me still trying to set up the room I've chosen to spend my night in, as I run over to the workbench, the one-sided agreement of me sending pictures of my feet to the gas and electric company as a form of payment clearly must have fell through, because the fuckers cut my power off, and then proceed to try and communicate with me through the radio in the other room. Thankfully though, they come to their senses and turn my power back on. Now there's some time to kill. This night actually looks like it might turn out pretty well. Yeah, so I guess I just decided to follow in the old man's footsteps from a quiet place. With a feral dog managing to break in, I quickly kill it, and then have a goofy centipede monster crawl out of the ground straight after. Thankfully though, there wasn't enough time left in the night for it to really bother me, and I managed to survive to day 3. With another day completed and done, I got outside to breathe in that fresh Polish air. But standing outside doing the same, it looks like I've managed to garner the attention of a really shit Slipknot tribute band.
Sitting in the corner, playing my recorder.
Talking to them, it looks like they're just as socially anxious as I am. So we just sort of stand there, looking at each other. Before one of us eventually decides that we want to trade. After selling pretty much most of the stuff I found while going through the abandoned village, I buy some pills and crafting materials off the 3, and then chop up the wood logs that I found when I was trying to find the elephant family yesterday. But little did I know, not far outside, my one and only friend, the trader, got brutally murdered. Seeing this lifeless, decapitated corpse, I decide to give him the send-off he truly deserves. Realising I'm stuck in what is essentially Brixton if it was in Poland, I keep my head on a swivel and head out to try and find this elephant family. Running into a human spider on the way, I eventually make it to the elephant family's compound. Now, with the amount of traps this family had going around their house, I felt as if I was trying to infiltrate a Clash of Clans base. Trying to disarm most of their traps, it seems that they too have been having problems with their electric company because their generator outside is just fucked. So I kindly repair it for them. Oh my fucking god. Entering their house with a limp so bad you would have thought I was trying to crip walk. The lady thanks me for repairing her generator and unlocks the door so I can talk to her face to face. At first glance, this family can only be described as insane. Not only do I get judged for my social anxiety, but this woman has the audacity to point out how chopped I am. You know what? I'll let it slide. She tells me how she's lost one of her kids and that he mentioned that his gran wanted to take him out to pick mushrooms. She asks me to find him and gives me the key to his room so I can find clues on where he disappeared to. Entering Martinek's room, seeing the state of it, do you know what? Honestly, I'm not surprised he ran away. But under a rug in the corner, I find a map with a circle that shows the general vicinity of where he went to. Suddenly feeling like Ethan Mars trying to find Sean, I leave the compound and head straight to the Mushroom Glade, which is where I'll most likely find this woman's kid. Arriving at the Mushroom Glade, I eventually make it to a house that looks like a hoarder's dream if the whole house was just mushrooms. Carefully moving through this fungal minefield, I find an old granny that's most likely the granny Martinek went to. Trying to talk to her, it looks like she's asleep, so I can either wake her up or do the next obvious thing and just start eating her. Suppressing my undying hunger after eating nothing but the finest Polish cuisine for the past 3 days. I'm joking, by the way, if anyone starts coming at me. Polish food is peak. I've literally got ruskie pierogi sitting in my fridge right now.
Ooh, mi gusta.
The old lady wakes up and glances at a door to her right, where she's probably hiding Martinek. Pointing at the door, the old lady tells me that there's nothing in there that would interest me, and tells me to come back once I remember what it is that I want. At this point, I'm a little confused, because I know I'm definitely supposed to have something to get the old lady to unlock the door for me. I could have just eaten her and got the key to that door straight away. Why didn't I do that? Well, clearly I just love making things a lot harder for myself. Leaving the Mushroom Granny's house, I start running around trying to find the thing that I'm missing. But after running around for so long, fuck's sake. My schizophrenia slowly starts taking over when I find myself being spoken to from the afterlife.
Stary, ale tu jest pięknie, nie?
Tak, tutaj naprawdę jest pięknie. Totalnie się z tobą zgadzam.
But I run back one last time to the Mushroom Granny's house and step onto some more mushrooms before talking to her again. There's literally no point in me doing this since I don't have what I need to progress. But just maybe it will spawn in through sheer will and allow me to carry on. But no, I'll have to come back some other time. Leaving her house and the Mushroom Glade altogether, my schizophrenia starts acting up again, and I witnessed a wolf trying to aura farm like Jack Baker at the start of Resident Evil 7. But with not much time left in the day, I head back to my hideout to start preparing for the night again. Contemplating over my catastrophic blunder of forgetting that one key item to get Martinek back for the elephant family, my demons start to haunt me. And I start hearing things no sane person should hear. With it sounding like the outside of a shop on Black Friday, I pray for the best and just wait for something to eventually make its way inside. The human spider breaks in, and as I'm trying to kill it, poorly, by the way, I turn around and all of a sudden there's two fuckers in here with me. Slowly starting to panic, I begin to slowly come to terms that this could potentially be it for me. But thank God, I managed to kill both of them. My never-ending stresses don't end there, however, because another human spider jumps in. And, you see, they do this one thing where they'll throw a piece of their limb at me, and I've got a certain amount of time to kill that limb before it grows into another human spider. Right, everyone, gather round. Let's take a quick guess. Do I manage to kill this limb or not? No, of course I fucking didn't. Instead of hitting the limb, which only takes one hit to kill, I hit the fucking window next to it instead. Oh, fuck. Very nearly getting cornered, Pure panic takes over, and I start running around with no plan as to how I'll get over this minor inconvenience. Hearing something else break into the room I just ran out from, with a heart rate that could be the metronome to Palaces by SD Kid, all rational thought gets thrown out of the window, and I just run outside, where I'm vulnerable to get touched up by the red floor gore. With the generator out of fuel and my torch burning out, through sheer luck, I managed to survive to the next day. After surviving what was by far the most stressful night yet, regrettably starting the next day, I run over and trade with the 3 real quick, and buy some crafting materials, gasoline, and healing items. With the gasoline, I promptly refill the generator, so I have at least 2 nights worth of fuel, and I don't have a repeat of what happened last night. But after crafting some more torches that have the durability of a matchstick, I head out and use the holes to fast travel across the swamp, so I can check to see if I missed anything in the elephant family's house. With some minor wounds on me that will most definitely get infected, I arrive at the elephant family's house. Entering Marcinek's bedroom again, I come to the cruel realization that I did in fact miss something. There's these shitty little drawings this kid made that I need to show the granny. What in a lack of anatomy and composition is going on here?
You know what it is? It's garbage is what it is. What you did on that dish is inappropriate and ultimately kind of disgusting.
With this shit drawing now in my possession, I run straight to the mushroom granny's house and show her Marcinek's drawing. She gives me the key to the room he's hiding in, and making my way in, I get the displeasure of seeing more of what this kid has been cooking up. Talking to Marcinek, for some reason he stood trying to aura farm the fuck out of me, and then he starts reciting his favourite Netspend song before I carry him back to his mum's house. Oh my god, please just fucking turn that off. Bringing Marcinek back to his mum, she rightfully scolds him for the pure trash he's been forcing her to pin on her fridge. So she takes him to his room and then returns back with an oxygen tank. But just my luck. It's empty, so now I have to go and find spare compressor parts in order to repair the broken compressor I've got back in my hideout. Thankfully, there's a junkyard at the southern edge of the swamp where I should be able to find these compressor parts. Arriving at the junkyard and squeezing through this corridor of trash, I reach an opening where I find a human spider. With another human spider running up as I kill the first one, killing the second one, I go back to trying to find these spare compressor parts. On the floor of the junkyard, there are these letters where there will be a trash pile that you can dig up, and somewhere in the map, there's a note that shows you what each trash pile contains inside of it. But seeing as I don't have this note, I was going to have to utilise my dumpster diving skills and hope I hit the right pile. That is, until I went up to the first pile and ran into a problem. A really big problem. In order for me to even dig up the pile in the first place, I need to use a shovel. But seeing as the whole point of this challenge is for me to not use anything other than the torch, I'm literally forbidden from using the shovel to dig up these trash piles and get the compressor parts that would be inside one of them. Running around the junkyard while getting chased by more human spiders, I was praying that my eyes were deceiving me, and that there was in fact a way that I could dig these piles up without using a shovel. But no, it looked like there wasn't. Now, at this point, I'm starting to panic. Is it over? Could this challenge really be finished because of these unobtainable compressor parts? The light began to fade, and I slowly started to lose hope. Until I found something truly spectacular. The Holy Grail, the Bible if you will, the Darkwood Wiki. These sacred texts had guided me and pointed me in the direction of the only other compressor parts in the entire game that I can get without having to use a shovel. Over by the radio tower on the northern edge of the swamp, there's rumoured to be a backpack that contains these compressor parts. However,
oh fuck,
obtaining them wouldn't be as easy as walking through the junkyard. With my hope restored, I start to head back to my hideout, as I won't have enough time now to go through the radio tower and be back in time before it turns to night. Preparing for the night and the next day, I wait until the last second before turning on the generator, so that I don't waste any fuel. praying that I don't have a night as bad as yesterday's. It looks like my prayers would get answered, just not in the way I was hoping. With shit moving around outside and a chomper breaking in, I realised this night was going to be even worse than yesterday's.
Somebody stop those fucking dogs!
Trying to release my frustrations on the chomper and missing.
You suck at this game!
The gates of hell conveniently open up in the middle of the room, probably hoping I yeet myself into it. I would not give in to temptation, however, and what preceded was a cursed game of cat and mouse, where I would lure the chomper into another room to kill it, and a big red orb of death would follow shortly after. With these rage bait tactics failing, I move back to the other room and get caught up in an accidental threesome with two chompers.
Whatever Daddy wants, Daddy gets.
With their main goal being to make my asshole bleed profusely. Managing to take care of both of them, I have some time to chill and recover from the horrors I just experienced. Another chomper does break in though, but seeing as the night was about to end, it kindly just leaves me alone. Starting what could potentially be the last and final day in this hellscape, I buy some gasoline, pills, and crafting materials from the three, and then waste no time in heading straight to the radio tower to get those compressor parts. Reaching the radio tower and seeing the aftermath of the calmest anti-5G protest, taking the long way round as the main entrance is blocked off by a box stuck on one of those growths, I eventually run into these protesters, lying dormant, waiting for their next attack. I'll have to walk past all of them so that I don't disturb their slumber, because if I do, then yeah. Making my way through, I eventually reach an abandoned building that contains even more banshees. But sneaking past, I eventually reach an opening, with me being now on the other side of that box. And after killing your least invasive Jehovah's Witness, I move the box so that later I won't have to worry about listening how 5G towers will give me brain aids.
I'm about to make myself retarded.
But running around the outskirts of the radio tower, I eventually find the bag I was told about. And looking inside, there they are, the compressor parts. With me completing this challenge looking more likely than me releasing a video in a timely manner, I run back to my hideout to repair the broken compressor. With it now fixed, grabbing the empty oxygen canister and refilling it, hoping I hadn't accidentally laced it with NOS, I run straight to the abandoned village to finally deal with that talking tree. Arriving at the village and going back to the basement, I make it to the flooded section and make my way in. Emerging on the other side of what looks like my Minecraft storage room, after assessing my surroundings, with the only point of interest being a large barrel full of gasoline, I carry on and move on to the next room. And with me coming out of the room I just came out from, I realise that oxygen and NOS probably weren't the only things I filled up my canister with, but probably Fent as well. With me now being stuck in an endless loop, with the basement being a little more fucked after each iteration, I eventually run into an axe on the floor. And if you hadn't realised earlier, because I'm currently in a dream sequence, I've been stripped of everything I had on me. So it's safe to say that seeing an axe, I shit myself thinking that it will be my only tool at my disposal. What the fuck? Essentially failing the entire challenge. But thankfully, moving into the next room, I do manage to find a torch. Yes. Now reunited with my beloved torch, I reach the end of this constant loop and find a barricaded exit to the basement. With it being of no interest to me, moving back, I enter into a wonky strip mine that's been conveniently dug out for me. And instead of asking myself if I'm at the correct Y level for diamonds, I ask myself, why the fuck am I down here in the first place?
Michael, don't leave me here.
Because this too ends up turning into an endless mine with no end. Trying to turn back, I get griefed and my exit gets blocked off, trapping me inside. Realizing that I'm not a cave diver and that fun is legal, I just accept my fate and wait for this nightmare to end. Coming down from my fent trip from hell, I find myself on the other side of the flooded cave. Moving forward, I find the barrel of gasoline from the dream sequence. With fuel prices nowadays requiring me to take a loan out from the bank just to fill up my car, I turn the valve to try and siphon some fuel for myself. But without a canister to hold the fuel, it just all pours out on the ground. And following the trail of gasoline, I get led to the root of the talking tree, where I can set the gasoline on fire and finally burn the tree down. With the environment now looking like a Polish version of the LA wildfires, it will take some time for the tree to fully burn down. So until then, I head back to my hideout and mentally prepare myself for what could very well be the last night in this god-forsaken swamp. With a mix of excitement and the smell of soiled underwear lingering in the air, I stand in the corner of the room, waiting for shit to break in. But instead of shit breaking in, my power gets cut off, rudely preventing me from preloading GTA 6 on the quickest rural Polish internet money can buy. Not all hope is lost though, as I try to communicate with the electric company to fix this mess via a radio on the floor. After talking back and forth about how I'll need to send money to a Nigerian prince to get my power back, the radio embodies the quality of your average customer service call and just sets itself on fire. The entire room eventually gets engulfed in flames, and I start to get attacked by what I assume is the embodiment of a scam call trying to steal my debit card information. At first, the onslaught isn't too bad, with scammers coming here and there, but as more and more turn up from every direction, shit turns left really fucking quick. No! Oh my god. Are you fucking taking a piss? Is that a joke? What the fuck is that? I couldn't believe it. Somehow I'd managed to get through this entire game without dying. But on the last, most important night, I get ganked worse than an invasion in Dark Souls. I was debating on throwing in the towel, but seeing as I managed to come so far and was so close to the end, I couldn't end it like this. All I need to do is get the spare compressor parts, bring Martinek back to the elephant family so I can get the empty oxygen tank, and then I've got pretty much everything I need to burn the talking tree. Easy. With everything mentally planned out, I lock in and try again. Finally, back where I was before with the tree being set on fire again, heading back to my hideout, I prepare as much as I can for the night ahead by crafting an extra supply of torches and hoarding as many healing supplies as possible. I also repaired a well that's just outside of my hideout that I can drink from once a day to fully heal myself. The main issue with having to face these burning creatures is that they can easily overwhelm you, so the key is to just stay in a big open space where I know I can run around freely without worrying about being stuck on random shit in the way. And then all I need to do is just train them all as if I'm playing COD Zombies. But with everything prepared, I'm now ready to face this final night again. With the radio now on fire, I move to the next room and kill a bunch of the burning creatures that come out of the room with the radio. Slowly making my way outside, I begin to train all of them that start appearing, with the train starting to look like the line for TanaCon.
Saigon. Shit.
I get attacked a few times, but with the damage from the burning creatures being so insignificant, I don't have too much to worry about. I just have to make sure I don't back myself into a corner. Things at one point do start looking dicey. I start to get crowded by a fat horde of the creatures, and the red floor ghoul makes an appearance even though I'm right next to the hideout. So, I don't know about you, but that's just blatant cheating.
What the fuck? Clara!
But with the entire population of the UK during a heatwave now behind me, I run to the well to refill my health, and from there, it's an easy road to the end of the night. And just like that, I did it. What seemed like endless days of human torment are finally over, and now all I have to do is just make it to the talking tree without dying to some bullshit on the way. But before I leave for good, I leave my final mark in the swamp for future generations to find. Making my way to the abandoned village and going through it, taking everything all in one last time, I eventually make it to the burnt ashes of the talking tree, and with nothing else left to do, I cross through to the exit. Emerging on the other side of the burnt tree and making my way through a clearing, I finally make it to the road home. Following the road, with no signs of life visible anywhere, I do find one individual crawling on the ground. Going in for closer inspection, it's actually the old cripple from the village who wanted the tree burnt down in the first place. Not really too sure what to do in this situation, whether to carry the old man like a baby or just stand there and watch as he struggles to crawl on the floor. I decide to implement the tactic 5-year-olds use and just watch. After a while, I guess due to the old man's blindness, he loses track of where he's going and starts circling the same spot for the foreseeable future. With my vocal cords being unable to help him, the old man is now a lost cause, and I carry on without him. Further down, the road starts to get covered with people frozen in place who have previously tried to make their escape. But eventually, I reach the end of the road, and in turn follow a path where I can finally leave the swamp and the forest altogether. Looking like I've just come back from a 4-day bender, making my way through this thicket of trees, I eventually find the first sign of civilization. Carrying on, I find myself in the middle of your finest brutalist architecture, also known as a Polish block of flats. As I approach my apartment building, I find my neighbour sitting on a bench outside, and I finally manage to overcome my social anxiety and speak my first words throughout this entire game.
Good day.
After finding out that I've been playing as beloved television character William Mackenzie, I enter the building and make my way up the stairs to my apartment. Walking down what looks like your nicest looking uni student halls, I find the door to my apartment and enter. With a sweet smell of savoury gelatin broth insulting my nostrils,
Wow! Co za eksplozja smaku w mojej buzi!
I head straight to my bedroom, and after not sleeping for a week straight and with eye bags down to my jaw, I feel like a well-deserved nap is in order. Oh my god, what the fuck is this bullshit now? I swear to Christ, if this is more bullshit to do with a Boris, I'm actually gonna crash out. Right, just a fat hole. Okay. What the fuck is this? Why the fuck is Satan's asshole just underneath my apartment? How does that even make sense? What in the fucking Berghain is going on? Yo, can you turn it down? I'm trying to fucking sleep up here. I'll fucking turn it down myself. Give me this shit. Fuck off. Give it, you prick. Right, what is this anyway? A fucking flamethrower. Yeah, no, fuck this. Fuck this. I did not come all this way to use a fucking flamethrower after using a torch for the whole thing. Fucking flamethrower. You taking a piss? I'm fucking out of it. Alright, you can have your fucking BDSM party, I don't care. I prefer sleeping with the noise on anyway. I've worked too hard to not have this fucking nap. I'm having it either way. Yeah, fucking good night.